Good morning, everybody. It's morning in America. Look at the sun behind me. Well, although we're still in the dark winter, but God is still sovereign, and that's the lesson I want to teach today. In Hasidic philosophy, Divine Providence is supreme. And I just want to share a little story that I hope will be inspirational. Someone said on Twitter yesterday, why are all the hashgachah pratis stories so inspirational? And I don't know if that was a statement or a question, or I don't mean that either way is a question, but I'm saying, what was the mode of the question? I'm not sure, but in any event, I don't know if they were asking, they were making a statement that they are inspirational and asking why are they so inspirational, or why do people think they're inspirational? Maybe they're not. I don't know. So here's one that you might not think is inspirational, but for me it worked because it happened. But did he have a uvda, as we say? This happened to me. So I guess I'll start off, setting up the seeds to this story that happened yesterday. So a few weeks ago, I guess, it happened more than once. What I do at work right now, everyone asks, where are you driving to? I'm driving to work. I have an hour-long commute to work, and I'm driving to work. And since the coronavirus began, my main mission has been getting religious videos to show. I work as a prison chaplain, and getting religious videos to show to our inmates. And since I'm the supervisor for all the religions, it's my responsibility to get videos for everybody. And so I'll download them from YouTube or Vimeo or other sources. Facebook, there's different websites where you can put in the URL and get a download link for most videos that are on the internet. Not all videos, but a lot of them are pretty easy to download. Then I upload it to a OneDrive so I can download it at work, because I can't access those download websites at work. And then going from there, I download it to the computer, and then I go to a website called zamzar.com. They're not sponsoring me, although they should, because I've been giving them business, where you can actually convert pretty much any file to any file that within reason, obviously. But if you have one file format, a video, for example, or other, it's not only video or audio, it's other media formats, PDF, whatever it is. You want to make a JPEG to a PDF, I guess, and it starts out free. And if you want to do multiple uploads or larger uploads, you have to pay a monthly subscription, which I do out of the goodness of my own heart. I don't even charge the government for it, even though I probably should. And then so these videos are in MP4 form, and I convert them to DVD form. So I'm doing conversions, and then I burn them to DVD. Now, every now and then, and it seemed to me it's just a random thing, right? Is that every now and then a video just doesn't copy properly. Maybe one thing I have been doing, for example, is that I'll have lower quality videos, and I will have it run, let's say, for 4 hours or maybe more. I could sometimes even fit, depending on the quality of the video, or for sometimes just an audio track with a still picture, I could fit maybe 6 hours of material onto a DVD that can play in a DVD player, which is pretty cool. Because I was under the impression when I started doing this, since it said that you have 2 hours of space, I was thinking, like when I was a kid with the VHS tapes, right? So this is fascinating to me. It's probably boring to everybody else, but it's fine. You know, they tell us on YouTube that you should talk about what you're passionate about, and this has been my thing. You know, since I'm a kid, I've always been into like taping things off of TV. I have so many VHS tapes, I don't even know if they work, of stuff that I taped off of, you know, TNT Monster Vision when I was a kid, you know, when they would play the giant claw, or It Came From Beneath the Sea, or whatever else they're playing. So in any event, we would I thought that it was 2 hours, and so that was my standard, as I'm trying to get 2 hours of material. Then I realized it's not 2 hours, it's 4.3 gigabytes, which means I could fit, if it's a lower quality video, I could fit more than 2 hours. I could fit, like I said, 4 or 6 hours depending on the quality of the video. Sometimes it is only 2 hours because I'm only able to present a certain quality of video, a higher quality, however the download came and so forth. So in any event, what I generally do is I'll have 2 hours of material and I'll try to repeat it as often as I can on the same DVD. This way, because I don't have control over the DVD player, I just give it to somebody who plays it at the time, or I call them to play it at the right time, and this is where the story comes in. So the video is played when it is, so if I can have it be playing for 4 hours or 6 hours, this way if the guy missed it the first time, he could watch it the second time, right? Because I just want to help the inmates to have some religious instruction, inspiration, whatever their religion is. So every day of the week we show, usually 5 days a week, we're showing 2 different religions every day. One day of the week we don't show anything, and one day of the week we show just one religion. But it is what it is. So this is how we usually do it. Sunday is Protestant and Catholic. Monday is what we call the Eastern traditions, which is Buddhist, Hindu, Taoist. We kind of put them all together because there is certain intersectionalism between them. And that's in the morning. In the afternoon is Native American. Tuesday we show Wiccan and Jehovah's Witnesses. Wednesday we show Mormon, even though we only have one Mormon guy. I don't know why we're still showing it, but and Jewish in the afternoon. That's just because that was the day when the rabbi would come every week. Even though I'm a rabbi, but I'm the head chaplain, but we have a rabbi who's been coming every week to our institution for nigh on 30 years. Thursday we have the Nation of Islam and the Odinists, which maybe if they're Odinists it should be Wednesday, but they have it on Thursday instead. And Friday we show the traditional Muslim, which is generally Salafi, because that's what the guys want to hear. That's where they're coming from. If I show something that's not Salafi, I get complaints. But they're the peaceful type of Salafi, the Pennsylvania Salafi, which are kind of like the Pennsylvania Dutch, but a little different because they're urban. It's really a Philadelphia type of brand of Islam, although you have certain aspects of it in Pittsburgh as well. And obviously it's influenced by the Salaf worldwide movement. But in any event, it just so happened a few weeks ago, it happened more than once, whether it was a Buddhist, that's what I mark it as, even though it's Buddhist, Hindu, everything else, video, all the Eastern traditions. It happened twice that the Buddhist video got corrupted, meaning it played for 2 hours, but the second one didn't play, so I decided, you know what, let's just, a DVD, it cost 25 cents, and I was paying for them myself at first. Eventually I got the state to buy DVDs for me, because they're like, you know, we have these funds, you have to use it for something that's equal for all the religions. These particular funds, I was like, oh, this is perfect. So they got me DVDs, blank DVDs for me to, because if it's already recorded, that's religion specific, right? But if they're blank, I use them for everybody equally. And so now we have a library over about a year's worth. Every religion has, some have more than that, and some have around 50, 100 hours worth of material for every one of these religions. Or those, the Mormons and the Nation of Islam, we started a little later, but we're already have, quite a long time of those as well. Maybe 60 or 80 hours for those religions. But anyway, it just so happened, and again, it didn't just so happen, it was by divine providence, but it seemed to be so random that Native American and Buddhist videos got corrupted, and so I just recorded them somewhere else. And the whole thing was to teach me this lesson. So Monday was President's Day, and my plan was, I'm going to go to work anyway, this way I can take off on day Chol Hamoed, Pesach, or something else. Even though I have enough days, but it's nice to take off, right? And why shouldn't I go to work on President's Day? My kids are all going to school and everything. Why shouldn't I go? But then a snowstorm came, and it was not only a snowstorm but an ice storm. And it was funny, when I was leaving Friday, I was like, maybe, because I left Friday, I gave them the Muslim video and the 2 Christian videos, the Protestant and the Catholic videos. I was like, I was talking to the other chaplain, I was like, maybe I should have left the Monday videos too, but no, I'm coming in Monday. I'm planning to come in Monday, and I didn't come in Monday. So I was debating with my wife, should I go, shouldn't I go? And we were like, and it was a little bit of shalom bias issue, and the ice and everything. So I called up prison, and I said, can someone go to my desk? I said, I suggested who should go. And I said, where on the desk? There's a big pile of DVDs all the way to the top, and the first 2 on the top, the first one should be Buddhist, and the second one should be Native American. And I want someone to get those DVDs, bring them to where they need to be played, and then I'll call you at the time to play each one. They said, no problem, Rabbi, we got it taken care of. And so 10 o'clock I called. They said, which one do you want us to play now? I said, the Buddhist one. 1 o'clock, Native American. I felt really good. My work got done for the day, and I didn't have to go and drive in the dangerous ice storm, etc. So then yesterday rolls around, and the ice was probably worse yesterday than it was Monday. And I probably should have stayed home yesterday, but I just left a little bit later, let my boss know what was going on. He said, take your time. And he said, the roads aren't that bad out here, but I understand it's not around the corner. Get in my car. I have to get start the car, get all the ice off, and the windows were like windows of ice. You roll down the windows and you saw it ice, and I should have taken a video of that. Look, I'm breaking the window here, like they did, on American Funniest Home Videos type of thing, I saw that once. So anyway, but the roads really weren't that bad, and I have snow tires. I get to work pretty late, but I'm there. And then I look at my big stack of DVDs. Right on top, Buddhist and Native American. They lied to me, and they made it sound, this was what I was thinking. They made it sound like, oh, Rabbi, we got it. It's no problem. I was like, I should have came to work. I should have this, that. I was like, probably the Buddhist guys wouldn't care so much, but the Native American guys would probably be upset, etc., etc. And I said to the other chaplain, look, they lied to me. They said they got these DVDs, and so then, but I was like, I'm just going to laugh it off. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to say anything. And that was it. So then 10 o'clock came around. It's time to drop off the Wiccan video, and then I get back whatever was there. And when it's the beginning of the week, I get back not just one, like usual. When I give one, I get one back, and I put in the library. This way, if things ever go back to normal, the guys have their library of videos. It's not just one time that we're showing this. It's how the guys have a whole library for their religions. So I had noticed that they did rummage around my desk, because I noticed some things had been moved, but I was like, but they didn't take those videos that I described. So wouldn't you know it, when I got back, usually on a Monday I get back the Muslim video and the 2 Christian videos. I get back 3, and I was expecting, if they were honest, I would get back 5. I wind up getting back 6, because they took both of the Buddhist videos that were corrupted and the Native American video that were corrupted, but they worked. They still played for 2 hours, so they had something to show. And they didn't lie to me. They just happened to take the videos, not the ones that I wanted, but that's not a big deal. The main thing was that something got shown for these communities, and so I was very happy, but also it taught me a lesson. Like we say, have you done kol adam lekaf zchus? You have to be done lekaf zchus. You have to judge people favorably, and not assume that someone's lying to you, this and that. There must be some other explanation. And this was the explanation, was that, the fact of the matter was that stack of DVDs had a cover on it. They probably didn't notice it, even though it was right in front, and other people had the same issue when I tried to describe it before, and maybe I should have at least left it uncovered. But again, I thought I was coming in Monday. But they found videos, and they played videos, and so right away I told other chaplains, oh, they didn't lie to me. I thought they lied. I feel so bad that I judged them unfavorably. But I got taught a lesson about Divine Providence, because this was on so many levels. This Divine Providence was that those other DVDs got corrupted, that they were there on the desk. I didn't throw them away, even though I was tempted to do so. And and there was a snowstorm, which this whole thing was, so I got taught this lesson. So all around, it was hashgachah pratis. It was Divine Providence to teach me the lesson to be done lekaf zchus, to teach me to judge people favorably. And also to be megala ha'emes, to reveal the truth. And so right away I prayed that Rebbeinu Shalom, Master of the Universe, just as you revealed the truth here with this relatively minor issue, so too you can reveal the emes, be megala ha'emes, reveal the truth with everything in the world. Especially, the things going on in Washington, D.C. God has the power to overcome all of these things that are going on, and it's also by Divine Providence that we have the current state that we have, where so many lies are being told, because this way we're going to see a revelation of truth that we would have never known about. We already know a lot of things. I'm sure there's more things we don't know about, and so eventually there's going to be a zchus ha'emes, there's going to be a revelation of truth that we could never imagine, that would have never happened if not for all these things that we think are going wrong in the world. We think, look at this is all temporary. But the truth is, sheker ein le raglayim. Falsehood has no feet, and there's a whole explanation of what that means. We don't have time to go through that right now. Emes yesh le raglayim, but truth has feet. Truth is going to stand. we're going to see hisgalus ha'emes like we could never imagine. We're going to see revelations of truth that we could never, ever, ever imagine. And part of the way that we're going to get there is through all of these things that seem, they actually are negative, but they're for the good. And all these things that seem to be not going our way, etc. We're going to see a revelation of truth that we cannot imagine. We just have to be patient and keep the faith, not give up hope. And things are going to be revealed that you're never going to believe. And the truth is, the ultimate hisgalus ha'emes is the hisgalus kvod shemayim. The ultimate revelation of truth is going to be the revelation of the kingdom of heaven. That's going to happen eventually, and we're going to find out how all of these things that seem to be counteractive and counterintuitive to everything that we have in the world, it was all part of God's plan all along, every piece of it. Just like in these little minor stories in our own lives, which are really not minor, because like the story goes with Reb Uri of Strelisk, that there was Hasidim who their Rebbe had passed away and they were looking for a new Rebbe. And they went to Reb Uri of Strelisk and they asked him, they said, Rebbe, can we be your Hasidim? He said, well, do you believe in hashgachah pratis? Do you believe in Divine Providence? And they said, of course. What are you talking about? Look at us, we have a beard and payas, we're Orthodox Jews. What do you mean, do we believe in hashgachah pratis? So he said, so look out that window, you see that wagon that's laden with hay and straw, and there's little pieces that fall off here and there as the wagon is going. It seems to be a natural event. Do you believe with all your heart, with total faith, total unwavering faith, that it was predetermined and predestined from the 6 days of creation, that exactly which piece of straw would be on top of which other piece of straw, which bale of hay is on top of the other one, which one's to the side, and which exact piece of straw is going to fall off of that wagon at exactly what time and exactly what place, etc., etc., and that all of these things are predestined and predetermined by Almighty God, by the Creator, from the 6 days of creation. So then they thought about that for a second. They were like, that's a little far-fetched. He said, get out of here, you're heretics, I can't look at your face. Such wicked people, heretics, apostates. So they felt very embarrassed and ashamed that they were, they received this rebuke from the Rebbe. The one who's called the Seraph, he's the fiery angel, he's the dragon master, right? And so they thought about it, because they realized, of course, the Rebbe is correct. They were in error. They were humbled by this event and by this rebuke. And they thought about it for a second. They said, to a human being, gold is very valuable and silver is less valuable. Copper is less than silver and tin is less than copper, and paper is less than that, and straw and so forth is just garbage. We don't care about it. But to God, gold, gold is equally as valuable as straw. All of these things don't mean anything, or they mean everything. They're equal. They're His creation, and they have just as much value, one or the other. So a human being is going to have hashgachah, is going to have security over valuable items more than garbage items. They're not going to care about garbage. But to God, everything is equal. And so it's either equally valuable or equally invaluable. And since God has hashgachah pratis, he gives divine providence over us, so it's all equally valuable. If that's the case, so then of course, if God cares about us as human beings, he cares about straw, he cares about pieces of paper, he cares about leaves, he cares about everything, garbage, waste products. He cares everything, bugs and bacteria and viruses and atoms and subatomic particles are all by God's divine providence. There was a movie from the 50s called The Incredible Shrinking Man, and at the end of the movie he gives this soliloquy, the shrinking man, where he talks about where he kept getting smaller and smaller, and he said there's a certain point where the infinite and the infinitesimal meet, and he says in the end, to God there is no zero. I mean, it might be 0.00 billion zeros and then a 1 at the end, but God knows that one that's at the end of a 0. a billion zeros that we could never measure as human beings. But to God there is no zero. The infinite and the infinitesimal have a meeting place. And that's a really Hasidic word there that that Jack Arnold gave us in The Incredible Shrinking Man, and which is really probably one of the best of the 50s sci-fi movies. And that's the point here, is that these stories, and you all have the same stories, you just have to keep your eyes open for them. These stories of hashgachah pratis, these stories of divine providence, are not insignificant. They are totally significant, and they are just as connected to the redemption of the whole world, of the whole universe, as the big stories are. There's really not much difference between the elections in Washington, not any difference, and or what goes on with the Prime Minister of England, or what goes on with the Gedolei Yisrael, or lahavdil, or any other religious leader, the Pope or the Dalai Lama, lahavdil, right? As what happens in your life or mine. And when we embrace that, we embrace that faith and we embrace that truth, then we're megala ha'emes ba'olam. We're revealed, like Rabbi Nachman talks about this Indian of being megala ha'emes, of revealing the truth, zchus yigaleinu. And when we're megala ha'emes, when we reveal the truth, and God reveals the truth in His time and by His schedule, and everything comes together, that is what is mevi geula la'olam, right? Ha'omer davar b'shem omer mevi geula la'olam. The Talmud tells us in Pirkei Avos, 6th chapter, which is maybe an apocryphal chapter, but doesn't matter. It's a brisa, but in any event, it's part of our liturgy, and it brings from the story of Purim that we're celebrating next week, that when you say something in the name of the person who said it, when you quote someone and you don't engage in plagiarism, you bring redemption to the world. And it seems like such a minor thing, just avoiding plagiarism brings redemption to the world, but then we see the story of how Esther mentions that Mordechai did something, and it brings redemption to the world. And the truth is, that's the whole story of the Megillah. That's the whole story of the Book of Esther, the whole story of Purim, of how all these things that don't seem to be connected, and God's name doesn't even appear in the story. It just seems like a story of political intrigue and so forth, and yet God's hand was hidden behind there. And you might be noticing, I was saying Megala Ha'emes, and you might notice that the word Megala, to be revealed, sounds like Megillah, the scroll. And when you unroll a scroll, you reveal what's in the scroll. And Esther means Hester, means that which is hidden. And so Megillus Esther, the scroll of Esther, means revealing the things that are hidden. And that's what we have in this world, is that we have a lot of things hidden behind the scenes. Rabbi Tatz said that the world is a mask. And that's why in Purim we wear masks. And that behind the world, and the word olam is related to the word helam, which means hidden. So it's Megillas Esther. We're revealing that which is hidden. We're Megala, that which is Behester. It's interesting, even there's Hester Street in the Lower East Side. A Yiddish film and a Yiddish gas, a molige Yiddish gas. And that is also the lesson of this week's Parsha, of Parshas Amalek, of Parshas Zachor. And because by Amalek it says Asher korcha baderech, that Amalek just happened upon you on the road. He Asher korcha baderech, he just happened. But nothing just happens. There's no coincidences. Meaning the lie of Amalek is Asher korcha baderech. And Asher korcha is also a lashon keri of tumah, and also a lashon of careerus, of coldness, because coldness means it doesn't move. It means that we don't have the obvious lesson of God's providence. And Asher korcha is the same idea, that we're cold and blind and numb to divine providence. And for that reason, that's how we fight Amalek, by dancing, by warming ourselves up, having a drink, recognizing that this Asher korcha didn't happen. It's not just Asher korcha. It was all by divine providence. It was all by hashgachah pratis. Nothing just happens. There's no coincidences. And when we live with that faith and recognize that God is in control, that God is sovereign, and so Agag might have thought that he was the king. But he got taught a lesson that God is sovereign, that there's only one king, who's the king of all kings, Melech Malchei Amlochim. And in that matter, we can take this lesson, and indeed, that's why we have this situation of what we have in this week's regular parsha of Truma. It's all connected, because it says Vasu li mikdash v'shachanti b'socham. Make me a mikdash, a temple, a sanctuary, and my Shekhinah will dwell. I will dwell in them. And of course, the Al-Shach HaKadosh says, B'chol b'seich kol echad ve'echad. It doesn't say b'seichoi. God doesn't live in the temple. God lives in us. We go to our house of worship, whatever it is, in order to take something home with us. We don't relegate God just to the synagogue or the church or the mosque. God is here with us wherever we go and everything we do. And there's divine providence in every moment, in every subatomic particle, and every aspect of our lives. And when we go with that flow and realize that and recognize that and embrace that, then we can be elevated. And Megalo HaEmes, we reveal the truth. We can live in a world of truth, of peace, and of redemption. When you quote someone, you bring redemption to the world. We should be worthy to that Hisgalus Kvod Shemayim, to the revelation of the glory of heaven. Thank you for watching. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Comment. Let's continue our conversation. Thank you.